if we're wrong. I mean, there's no take back. I've been through this before.
Yeah. Well, which way did it go, George? Which way did it go?
Hello, welcome to Steelers Sanctuary. It's Wednesday, and that means we're back to doing a daily draft profile. If you didn't catch my mock draft yesterday, you're certainly welcome to check out the channel. Take a look. Don't forget the podcast tomorrow night, 6:30. We're going to take a look today at a kind of a combine phenom. He's a guy who was solidly in the top 2 or 3 safeties available, but wow. Nick Emmanwori really impressed at the combine. So let's take a look. Let's take a look at the measurables. Number one, big guy, 6'3", 220, good arm length, hands 9 inches. Ran an off the charts 40, fastest safety, one of the fastest defensive backs, period. 4.38 seconds. Had a 10-yard split of 1.49 seconds. Vertical off the charts, 43 inches. Bear in mind, this guy's already 6'3". He was ranked first overall in the combine with the safety rankings. I mean, the guy is just, every year somebody seems to stand out as a phenom. And this is a guy who was being mocked in the second and third round, mostly the third, probably jumped himself all the way up into the first, mid to late first round at this point. What's to like about this kid? Number one, it's very rare this kind of size and speed. I mean, this is, Kyle Hamilton for the Ravens is a big safety, but he didn't run a great time at the combine. This kid is running it faster than a lot of the best cornerbacks. He's faster than Jahdae Barron. So it's a very interesting combination. And if it was just the speed and just the size, okay, yeah, maybe he jumps up a little bit. But now you go back and look at his tape. This kid is an excellent tackler. He has excellent ball hawk skills. He's got good hands. When you start to think about, number one, he could probably play a nickel because of his speed. He struggles a little bit with turning and running, so he's better at a safety facing and ball hawking. But when you start to match him up with, some of the top tight ends in the league, talent wise, the guys in Baltimore, Isaiah Likely, Travis Kelce, guys like that. This is a guy who is George Kittle, guy who's going to be as big as they are, as physical as they are, and faster than they are. So the Steelers have really struggled over the last couple of years with tight ends. This is a guy who could maybe step in right away and help fill that hole. The other thing you got to like about him, especially if you're a Steelers fan, he's a big hitter. He's a big hitter. He's a big guy, and he lays the wood. And this is a guy who you just would love to see roam in the middle of for the black and gold. Now, what's the downside? That combine workout pushed him from maybe the Steelers could take a chance on him in round 2 or maybe get him in round 3 if he's still available. That I feel like this kid has jumped all the way up into the first round. I don't think he would go much higher than 20, but this kind of talent, it's really hard to overlook, especially when you see what the effect is that Kyle Hamilton had on the Baltimore Ravens defense. He does sometimes take bad angles to ball carriers. So, from a run, he's a good tackler and he's a big hitter, but sometimes he'll get himself out of position. The other downside, the only other thing I can think of is, we have to pay him a lot of money on his second contract because this kid is phenomenal. He's an impact player. And I know the Steelers don't necessarily need a safety. I get it. But this kid could play a little bit of nickel corner. He's so big, you could really stick him in as a nickel and dime linebacker, and he's a good enough tackler where he could make an impact. And the Steelers play a lot of 3 safety looks. You toss this guy in the middle of the 3 safeties and just say, hey, we need you to stop the tight end. Or, hey, I've got a big outside receiver when I go to 3 safety. I'm going to have Joey Porter or whoever's playing corner release it to you, and you take it from there down the field. I will say this: when I say this kid's a ball hawk, I'm not kidding. You underestimate him at your peril if you're a quarterback. If there's that little release like we saw a couple times in the cover two where Joey Porter got beat and then Minka couldn't get there to the sideline and they were completing those passes in the hole of the cover two. I don't feel like if this kid's out there, I think he's so fast he gets to those balls that Minka and Deshaun Elliott cannot get to. So, what's the Steelers sanctuary verdict on Nick Emmanwori? That the combine probably pushed him to, well, it definitely pushed him to the top of the safety class, and I think pushed him into the first round. He's a faster version of Kyle Hamilton, and on the surface, while it's not a position of need, this kid is a ball player. And he's an impact player. He's a guy you stick in the middle of the defense and you just figure it out and let him go to work. If he's still on the board at 21, I know I like Kenneth Grant. We need a defensive lineman. But if this kid is on the board and it continues to trend up after his pro day, Omar Khan and Mike Tomlin, if they are really serious about BPA, are going to have a very tough decision to make. Tape is good on this kid. I like him a lot. I've liked him all along in the process. Ooh, if he's there in the first round, I'm not saying he's Troy Polamalu. I'm not saying that I think he's a better version of Kyle Hamilton. This is the kind of guy who could be the face of the Steelers defense for a decade. That's all I got. Tomorrow, tune into the podcast. I will have a draft profile out tomorrow, a little bit earlier. Sorry it's so late today. If you have any requests, hit me up on X. Let me know what you want to watch, and I'll try to accommodate it. So have a great night. We'll talk to you guys tomorrow.
Why am I so sad? Am I doing the wrong thing?
It's just that sometimes goodbyes are a bitch.
T-shirt, idea. Goodbye stink.
I will see you tomorrow at lunch.
I am looking forward to lunch.